Everyone else set?
Can you hear us, Rob? Let's do a Zoom check.
Yes, they can hear you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. So welcome to the October 27th, 2025 Town of Ithaca Board meeting. We have several public hearings, so we will start with the very first one, which is authorization to release the existing Saponi Park parcel to Eddie Hill Inc. and acceptance of substitute parkland from Eddie Hill for the new Saponi Park. This is 8.3 acres. This has been brought to the town board's attention before. This authorizes the release of the existing Saponi Park parcel to Eddie Hill to accept a new parcel of the same size from Eddie Hill for the new Saponi Park, and authorizes the town supervisor to execute the necessary documents subject to the approval of the attorney for the town. As folks may remember, there was some extra steps that we had to go through the state to make this happen, and we were able to do all of that. So I will open the public hearing at 4:32 to see if there are any members of the public who would like to address the town board on this topic. Anyone here to talk about that issue? Okay, we will close the public hearing and I will bring the attention of the town board. Would someone like to move the resolution? Susie, I will second. Are there questions? Mike is here. Mike, do you want to just say a couple of words about the process and that we're ready to do this?
Yes, like you said, it's been here several times before, so this is the last step. The town board in the process. This would start the permissive referendum timeframe, so it would go into effect 30 days after this. We could turn it over to the town attorney for closing to actually do the swap.
And we've agreed to pay the incidental cost, but they're fairly minor. And I believe it's Attorney Guy Crow who's been working with us on this issue. Any questions? If not, if we're ready to vote, if those in favor would raise their hand or say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Moving on to the next public hearing. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say at the beginning that there are 3 board members who are absent this evening. And town board member Rob Rosen is participating virtually and meets the town requirements for being counted toward a quorum. We have a policy about video conferencing if there's a health issue or other extenuating circumstances. So Rob meets all that. So Rob, thank you for joining us virtually this evening. So we do have a quorum. We have 4 board members participating this evening. The next item is a public hearing. I will open the public hearing at 4:35. This is authorization to purchase an ag conservation easement. Tax parcel is there. It's 24-5-1.6. This is Julia Holmes Trust, and it's near Hates, Sheffield, and Bundy Roads. Again, this should be familiar to the town board. We've talked about this a few times. This authorizes us to execute the proposal for an ag conservation easement with Julia Holmes Trust. You can see the amount is $260,000 for the easement. Mike, do you want to just say a few words about this?
Yeah, it's kind of the same process that it's been here several times before. The landowners are in favor of moving forward with the value that we reached. So this is the last step for the town board members. It also starts the permissive referendum. So after that time frame, again, Guy Crow would help us with the closing to get the conservation in place.
So are there members of the public who would like to address us on this issue? Okay, if not, I will close the public hearing at 4:36. Did we already move? Would someone like to move this resolution? Dan, is there a second?
I'll second.
Susie, questions, comments from board members? If not, if we're ready to vote, all those in favor, raise your hand or say aye. It's unanimous. Now moving on to a set of, we'll open all these public hearings at once. They're all related to our budget. So the following public hearings are the proposed increase to the town of Ithaca water rates, the proposed increase to the town of Ithaca sewer rents, the 2026 assessment rolls for the special benefit districts and special benefit areas, and the preliminary 2026 town of Ithaca budget. Are there members of the public who want to address us on any of those? Come up to the table. And tell us which one you wanted to.
Well, I'm actually not sure if I'm supposed to be here tonight, but I wanted to address the issue of TCAT because I heard that TCAT was asking the town of Ithaca for funds. And I want to make sure that this is the appropriate.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, thank you. So I'd like to support TCAT, but I'm opposed to my taxes being given to an organization that is unaccountable to the people that it claims to serve. TCAT suddenly descended on our neighborhood, Upper Elm Street in West Haven in August without warning or without a single conversation with anyone in the neighborhood, nothing about our safety. 36 times a day from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., buses go up and down our road. After a flurry of emails, TCAT decided to host a listening meeting. I appeared at the meeting with a previously sent list of questions that our group had developed. None were answered. Mr. Rosenblum Jones did declare that a meeting with our neighborhood was not required because the new route was not more than 20% new. This is arguably false. He told us that TCAT changed the route from the city to the town roads for two reasons. One, ridership was poor, and two, bus drivers needed a safer driving route. Ridership first. TCAT claimed that this new route addressed the requests of Eagle Village for increased bus transportation. However, the closest bus stop on West Haven Road, and there are 3, is longer than a half mile from Eagle Village's most populated neighborhood. Rarely is anyone at the stop. And bus 20 already serves Eagle Village 3 times a day. During the meeting, Mr. Rosenblum Jones discredited our observations that most of the buses were empty. How can you see into the buses, he said, but you can see into the buses. True, you can't see into them when they're wrapped with advertisements. So I decided to ride the buses. I rode 6 times and asked others to ride also. And only during the work commute did ridership ever exceed greater than 7 people at any single time. Last Wednesday, I rode TCAT buses 14. It's a shopper bus that goes to Walmart and makes a loop around the neighborhood. There were no more than 4 people on that bus. Why put a huge bus that seats 39 and stands 28 that rips up roads, crowds roads, makes noise when you could use a smaller bus or even a van? We know TCAT has smaller buses, but TCAT declined to discuss them. My partner rode bus 14 at the same time. At no time was there more than 7 people on bus 14. We are not advocating for the disbandment of bus 14. We understand and respect that bus 14 is vital for some people. Second issue, safety. TCAT complained endlessly about the difficulty of their large buses negotiating tight turns in the city, when in fact they also exist in the town. According to TCAT, this is one reason why bus 14 was moved from the city of Ithaca and Route 79 to Elm Street and West Haven. Route 79 is a maintained state road. Elm Street and West Haven are town roads and are narrower and much steeper than Route 79. In fact, the intersection of West Haven, Elm, and Coy Glen is a particularly dangerous intersection, which is double sloped and more dangerous in some ways than the city intersections mentioned by TCAT. TCAT has altered the character of our rural neighborhood by turning it into a TCAT highway. We don't want buses 36 times a day on our roads. Furthermore, running multiple mostly nearly empty buses back and forth is environmentally unsound. Having two nearly empty buses within minutes of one another going up West Hill suggests lapse planning and an inability to look creatively at existing routes. Thank you for listening, and I have this in the list of 20 questions that I sent. Or that was,
Give it all that.
Okay.
Is there anyone else who would like to address on one of the budget items?
Hi, I'm Lisa Chervinsky and I live at 123 West Haven Road. People move to the town of Ithaca because it's a rural feel and to get away from the noise and traffic associated with the city. The constant bus traffic down West Haven Road 36 times a day has changed the feel of our neighborhood, creating noise and an unsafe environment. We do not have sidewalks and there is not a paved shoulder. People walk their dogs in strollers along this road and the bus barreling down it is hazardous. After contacting TCAT with our concerns, we have received limited cooperation and accountability. While our community supports service to Eco Village, we do not have clear justification for the route along West Haven. They have yet to provide us with ridership statistics indicating the actual demand. There are less than 50 homes on West Haven Road and an additional 25 on the upper part of Elm Street extension. And so far, we have a group of over 24 residents expressing their concerns. Given our anecdotal research, it appears that ridership is quite low. This seems to be a waste of resources while creating unnecessary noise, pollution, and safety issues. We do not support giving money to an organization that is not accountable to the community it supposedly serves. I would ask who they are actually serving, the community or themselves. We are not looking to totally stop the bus service, but a more tailored approach appropriate for the demand and the neighborhood would be more judicious. Thank you.
Any other members of the public on one of these items?
I'm Helen Gibson. I live at 108 West Haven. I'm here to support my neighbors who have attended the October 9th listening session with TCAT. We had a good turnout of neighbors. We thought listening meant a two-way conversation. Mr. Rosenblum began the meeting by stating that both the new buses 14 and 14S routes on West Haven would not be changed. He chastised us for not supporting public transportation for the underserved population. He told us that West Haven Road is a public road and anyone can drive on it. They didn't need permission. They missed the whole part of our concern. I have lived on West Haven Road for over 40 years. We are not a NIMBY neighborhood. The vast majority of residents on the road know the importance of public transportation and support TCAT's mission to serve the underserved folks in our area. Serving the public, however, shouldn't necessarily mean having two buses travel back and forth 36 times on our road each day when the ridership level is low and the TCAT financial situation is dire. Before asking municipalities to contribute more money, they should be more realistic about cost saving before increasing the number of buses they direct onto the roads. And thank you for listening. Thank you for listening because TCAT didn't. Thank you.
Any other members of the public on one of these public
Thank you.
items?
Thank you.
Can you come up to the table? It's just so we can capture in the microphone.
My name is Patty Zalewski Gibson, and I live at 118 West Haven Road. And my presence here today is to support the things that have already been said, so I'm not going to go ahead and reiterate. But I do want you to know that there are several of us, plus others that aren't here due to work commitments, lack of childcare, who live on West Haven Road that are part of the group. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm still going to say similar to Patty, but it helps really probably to just voice it one more time potentially. I'm Deanna Nasser. I'm on West Haven as well at 107. And I concur with what's been said here. I spoke at a previous meeting. And it's the unfolding of the events have been really a little bit shocking in some ways that the PCAT, the way that they've spoken to people and how they haven't really addressed the situation with the community members. So I just wanted to support my fellow neighbors.
Any other members of the public? So I hope it wasn't confusing that we sort of bundled 4 public hearings under one, but you all spoke at the same issue. So I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing at 4:47. And we will now pick up each of these one at a time. So the first one is increasing the water rates chargeable to consumers of water in the town of Ithaca effective November 15, 2025. And the resolution states what the new charge would be. Kelly, I don't know that there's anything that you want to say about how we calculate these.
Basically, on water rates, we take two things into consideration, the rate that we pay Bolton Point as well as our operation. Typically, it's been about 5% over from year to year.
So would someone like to move the resolution for the water rate?
Move it.
Pam, is there a second?
Second.
Suzie, seconds. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Unanimous. Somewhat similar now, moving on to increasing the sewer rents in all of the town of Ithaca sewer improvement areas effective November 15th, 2025. Anything you want to say about this one, Kelly? Would someone like to move resolution?
I'll move the resolution.
Susie moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Pam seconds. Questions about this one? All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Unanimous. And then the last of this particular bundle is adoption of the 2025 assessment rolls for the special benefit districts and special benefit areas for the tax year 2026. We get this information from the county assessor's office. It's pretty straightforward. Kelly, anything you want to say about this one? Would someone like to move the adoption of this resolution?
I'll move.
Pam, is there a second? Is these seconds? Any questions or comments? All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Unanimous. Moving, so that's the end of the public hearings. We will now move on to the next agenda item, which is approval of the 2026 employee wages. Again, this is pretty straightforward. Judy, is there anything you want to say about the 2026 employee wages? You'll see that it's a 4.5 cost of living increase, which was what we adopted with the Teamsters local, and we tend to offer the same rate of increase to the non-employees as well. Would someone like to move this resolution?
I'll move the resolution.
Lucy, I can't tell if you guys are just taking turns.
I
Is there a second?
kind of are, yeah. I'll second.
Second, Pam, seconds. Any questions or comments? All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Unanimous. And now on to the budget, the 2026 Town of Ithaca budget. The Budget Committee did meet just a week ago, and there were a few things that we talked about then, and one certainly had to do with TCAP, which you just heard from some members of TCAT. So you may remember that TCAT came in, they wanted to extend the service in the Inlet Valley, and their price, the request was $49,491. We did go back and had, the budget committee was open to maybe reducing that by half, in essence, putting $25,000 into our budget. And TCAT said, so we had some questions for TCAT. Would they even consider that? We had suggested that they just provide the service for half the year. They said it would be better for them to still start in January, just reduce the amount of service for that whole year so that they had more data to draw from. We also know that there's still ongoing discussion between the county, Cornell, and the city about their contribution to TCAT. So I asked the question, if we decide to put money toward extending this new service through Inlet Valley, it has nothing to do with those ongoing discussions. They agreed. They also said that they would certainly be tracking the numbers and give us a report toward the end of next year if we chose to go in this direction. So let me table that for a minute. That was one thing the budget committee talked about. The other item the budget committee talked about was our contract for fire services with the city. We talked both about the fact that we are still in some discussion about the 2024 invoice we received. So it has implications for our 2026 budget. Where we're settling down is to pay the full amount that they had charged us for 2024. There's no action item on that now. We're waiting for the city to, for the city council to pass a resolution allowing the city to pay more than they were expecting to in 2024. And then we'll bring a resolution to this board authorizing this board to pay more than we were contracted to pay for 2024. We have built in a figure for the 2026 budget that we received from the city's budget for 2026. We have done our best job of estimating what the administrative fee might be, since we don't have a contract yet for moving forward past December 31st. So now that we feel fairly confident about the number that we have built into our budget for the fire contract, we're having ongoing discussions to come up with a new, whether it's a 2-year, a 3-year, 4-year, 5-year contract. Stay tuned. We have gotten information from the Center for Governmental Research with some recommendations for how the city and the town might move forward in a partnership and what percentage this town might pay for that. So that's still a work in progress. So that's all to say that we've done our best at putting in a figure that we feel fairly confident about for the 2025. And then there were a couple of other small changes to the budget that didn't change the numbers. It was about moving a vehicle replacement from 2024 to 2025. Okay. So other than that, we haven't really had other budget changes from the last time this group looked at it. So let's start with whether this board wants to entertain adding $25,000 into the budget to allow TCAT to extend service through the Inlet Valley in a trial basis. You just heard from members. What they were talking about is another issue. You may know that some of them came in and talked about service that had already started on Westview and other places. This would be extending a new service through the Inlet Valley. And we would do it in a way that if this board chooses to add $25,000, that we would draw from fund balance so that we can continue to stay under the tax cap. So thoughts about whether we build in $25,000 for the 2026 budget to extend service through the Inlet Valley? And again, the comments here were different than sending the service. Anyone want to speak to this issue?
Well, say something. I think in general, if it's done right, public transportation is one of our goals. I was concerned about what I heard the last time these folks addressed us, and we told them we don't really make these decisions for TCAT. They should talk to TCAT, and it sounds like they had a very unsatisfactory meeting with TCAT, and that upsets me. I also continue to have concerns that if TCAT, from what I read in the newspaper, they're looking for $500,000 from each of the city, county, and Cornell. Are they even going to be in a position to use our money for what they're telling us they're going to? So I'm in support of giving them the money for this bus route. I would love to hear from people in the area to see if they would actually be using it. TCAT seemed to believe they would be using it based on other ridership data that they had. But, I just don't want to give them $25,000 and then have no route because they needed the money elsewhere, or they didn't have the time or the manpower to actually get this up into action. So, perhaps we can give it to them in a way where it's tied to actually starting the route and not just handing them the money with free rein.
And I'm sorry if I didn't make that clear. That was my specific question to TCAT. They said, no, if you give us this money, it's going to go to the specific use.
And I'd like to believe that. I hope that's accurate, but if they're having so many troubles, who knows if they'll actually be able to see that happen, and in which case I would hope we could, at least get our money back.
I'll just say I'm supportive of trying this, partly because the Inlet Valley is an important corridor to us. And it would be a trial basis. We would ask for quite a bit of information at the end of the year to see what the ridership was, how did people use it, what the feedback is from the community in that area. So I would be in favor. Susie, do you want to speak?
No, I feel the same way that you do. I have reservations, as Pam had expressed, but I am in support of it and trying it out with the specific route in mind. And that's all we really can do, right? We can't, as long as we can have some data and know that it's working and know how the neighborhood feels about it, so we don't get to the position we have. Yes.
And this is not a commitment to any future funding, right? This is
No, I mean, if it works out well, they would hope that we
Right.
would want to continue.
But we're not promising.
But we're not
anything.
promising. They know it's, he made it clear, like, well, if it works, we hope that there would be on funding. Let me just see so Margaret, even though Margaret can't vote, she can talk.
Hi,
Oh,
so
Speak.
okay.
Go ahead.
yes, I think this is a great idea for us to support. I think we will have more information after the first cycle and can revisit. I think that many town residents use TCAT, and that the town has an interest in making low-cost public transportation available to residents for a number of reasons. And I think that including this small allocation is really in line with the mission of the town to make it a place where any person can live and thrive. And this is sort of um, a pilot test, if you will, to see how this goes. So I would be in favor.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. Kelly?
I just wanted to add, for a reminder of the process. So for each of the organizations that receive funding from the town, there's a contract in place. So there will be an opportunity to include language that addresses the board's concerns if that's the path you choose.
Rod, did you want to say anything?
Majority on this. I was shocked at the residents reporting of their interaction with TCAT, but I think it's a separate issue. And what I've heard about TCAT's management problems is a separate issue. And I think that this is for the greater good and we should approve it.
So we do need to just take a vote to add this in to the 2026 budget. So all those in favor of adding $25,000 to the budget for TCAP for the specific, and it will be spelled out in the contract, for this specific extension of the service for the Inlet Valley. I'll make the motion. Would someone like to second it?
A second.
Thank you, Pam.
Put a finger.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye. So now back to the budget in general, and I didn't go through the usual because we've talked about the budget before. There was a question I was asked, I think it was last week. I'm embarrassed to say I didn't answer very well, but remember our total budget is decreasing from 32.16 million to basically 31.2 million. So I was asked, well, then why are our taxes going up? And the answer is pretty simple. It's because last year we relied quite a bit on fund balance to keep the tax rate low, and we can't do that every year. So we are tapping into fund balance, but not to the extent that we were last year. Did I answer that question well? Okay. And Kelly, I do not think that there were any other changes to the budget.
There were not. I updated all of the special district values as provided to us by the county assessment office, and then everything else is as previously presented.
The plan is to, and again, this was talked about at the budget committee. It's a little bit of a mix between the 2024 invoice for the fire contract we talked about and what we're expecting to pay in 2026. And maybe even considering that we might be asked to pay a little bit more in 2025 than we were contracted to pay, but we don't know yet. So I think that we might be using $1 million in fund balance from the fire fund to help with all those. Is that correct?
Yes,
And it would still leave us with
roughly
3 million.
about 3 million.
So any other questions about the proposed 2026 budget? If not, would someone like to move the resolution approving the 2026 budget? And we will note that the form about the tax cap went in today, and it had to go in before we voted on the budget, correct?
That's correct.
And you got acknowledgement that the state received it?
Yes.
Okay, so we're all good on that front?
Yes.
Okay. Would someone like to move the 2026 budget? I should move it, I guess. I'll move it. Is there a second? Susie seconds. Questions, comments? All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Unanimous. Kelly, thank you for your vote on that budget.
Yay.
Next item is authorization to award construction contract for the 2025 miscellaneous water main replacement project phase 1. I'm going to put you on the spot. Do you want to say a little bit about this? Justin?
This is the water main replacement project that we were looking at a couple weeks ago for Winter's Circle and Stone Quarry Road. We had estimated, at that point, we provided a cost estimate for the board. The cost estimate came in around $563,000. We received bids back, and the low bid for both the base bid and the bid alternate came in around $350,000. So we got really good numbers back for this project, so we're looking to move forward.
And we're building in a 10% contingent.
That is correct. Yep.
So it brings it up to 384, 507.
Yep.
Would someone like to move this resolution?
I'll move it.
Pam moves it. Is there a second?
Second.
Oh, I'll let Rob. Rob seconds. Okay, Rob. Any further discussion? Any questions? Not all those in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Unanimous. Now we're moving into committee reports. So I've already talked about what was discussed at the budget committee, but we're set with that. Codes and ordinances, have they met since we?
We didn't meet last month.
Nope, not last month, but recently. Help with that.
Yes.
Again, so in the packet is a memo about the selected zoning updates that the Codes and Ordinances Committee has been drafting this year in addition to their ongoing work on the subdivision regulations. And in short, one of the main requests was from the Zoning Board of Appeals for this board to consider allowing accessory buildings in side yards. That's been a longstanding issue in the town. The Codes and Ordinances Committee delved into it and has prepared draft revisions to the zoning for your consideration. There's also a couple minor amendments, mostly at the request of Director of Code Enforcement on permits to build, amending the language surrounding when the Director of Code Enforcement has the ability to issue building permits. And also the expiration of variances. For some time, the variance length has been 18 months. And we've received a number of requests, but it also kind of makes good timing sense to extend that to 36 months so that the Zoning Board of Appeals variances that are granted essentially align with the planning board timetable for a project. So we're recommending, or COC is recommending, that be extended to 36 months as well. And so there's a simple memo on that. There's some redlined language in the packet. And this is just to introduce this to the town board, see if there's any questions. And we, of course, will bring it again next month to set a public hearing for the December meeting. Pleasure
Thank
to
you
this
very
board.
much for that.
Yes, of course.
Personnel and organization.
So we just met for this meeting and discussed a few things. One is actually in the consent agenda tonight, where we have approval of a civil service position for a human resources and finance specialist. So going to assist Judy and serve some important functions as we have personnel changes coming in the future. And we also discussed changing the payday from Friday to Thursday, beginning in January. So our staff will be paid on Thursdays every 2 weeks instead of Fridays. Just makes it easier for Judy to correct any errors that may occur, because finding out about an error on a Friday afternoon is not really conducive to having it resolved expeditiously. So Thursday gives her another day to do that. And I can't imagine anyone's going to complain about getting paid a day early, but if they are, let me know. And then, what else? There was one more thing.
We reviewed another chapter.
Yes, thank you. We're almost done. We have just a handful of short chapters left on our procedures manual that will be before this board, or actually our new board in January, to vote on and adopt, which we do every. So
And the vacation buyback.
Oh, yes, the vacation buyback. So we have a vacation buyback policy where you can sell up to 2 weeks of your vacation back with some conditions, provided that you've actually exercised some of your vacation time. And that would happen every November. And what we're doing now is we're gonna make that open in May and November. And you can sell back some of your time, you can sell back all of your time, you can do some in November and some in May, you can do some in only November, any combination that you want. There'll just be 2 opportunities a year to sell back time. That was it.
Great, thank you very much. And CJ, I'm going to put you on the spot again because I forgot Rich isn't here and I didn't bring the agenda for the planning committees. Can you remind us what we talked about just last Thursday?
Oh my God, no, we did not meet.
Oh, we didn't meet.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I don't remember. 'Cause there-
Oh, good. But I think we were going to mention, because it falls under planning, that a group of us have been meeting with Forest Home, representatives of Forest Home, to think about ways to help calm traffic and make it safer for pedestrians and bicyclists going through Forest Home. You may recall we did get a small grant from the Park Foundation. So we're ready to, in fact, I think it's already gone out, and you want to
Yes,
mention the RFQ?
absolutely. And so you may recall the application to Park Foundation. We were indeed awarded those funds. And so we've developed a request for qualifications along with the folks from Forest Home, as well as a couple representatives from Cornell University, essentially in collaboration with them. And yes, we are looking for specifically folks with really deep expertise in transportation planning, specifically active transportation, as well as public engagement and outreach. We know that needs to be a really significant portion of that project. And so, yeah, that will be, as soon as this meeting is all set, we'll be distributing that. So.
Thank you. Public Works did not meet, so there's no report from Public Works. Are there other meeting updates or just things to mention to the board from board members or staff? I'll mention that there is an RFP that's going out. Maybe it already went out. This is related to the extension of the South Hill Trail, now being called the Coddington Valley Rail Trail. We received some money from the county. We've been sitting on it, but we're sending out that RFP to help plan from Burns Road to German Cross Road, I believe. Thanks, Road. Thank you. So that's going out. Do you remember, has it been sent out?
I think Mike did send it out today.
Okay.
Going out very shortly, imminently.
So other updates?
Brad, I can mention CWIO's meeting was a tour of Bolton Point Municipal Water System with updates on their efforts to protect source water and their work with the American Water Works Association at the state and federal levels. And Rod, I think you attended the Water Matters Day on the 21st and heard that presentation. And I'd be happy to share the slide deck from that. There's a lot of really interesting information.
I think I did send it out to town board.
Oh, you did. Great. Okay.
Because Steve sent it.
Yep.
Well, send it to me and then I'll double check because I might have sent out what Steve showed, not what Anna went through.
Okay.
Any other updates? If not, we'll move to the consent agenda. Would someone like to move the consent agenda? Susie, is there a second? Pam seconds. All those in favor, raise your hand or say aye. Unanimous. And now I'm going to move that we go into executive session to discuss current litigation from Verizon Wireless pertaining to 111 Reedmeyer Court. So we will be asking you to leave since we have to go into an executive session. And if there's anyone on Zoom, and you'll stop recording. But